Welcome to Sipping on Excellence. This is Coach KJ, and I'm here with my man, my dude, the Doc.
And this is where we will be discussing the exceptional that is absolutely attainable. My friends, here's to living that extraordinary life.
Cheers.
All right. If y'all only knew what we were talking about.
Oh my God.
Less than 12 seconds ago.
You know the sad part is when I do the opus cut, when I do all the clips, it's probably going to pick it up.
We'll give a fuck.
Oh boy.
What up, y'all? Welcome to another week of Sipping on Excellence with Coach KJ over there and Doc. Coming at you each and every week with some good shit.
I'm still just laughing, man. Yeah, some good shit. We coming at you. We coming at you strong.
That's cool, but me first. Man, I'm gonna tell you.
That was money.
That's
money.
cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, I'm first.
Dang, nothing to say.
Oh my God! Oh, it's right there. I'm looking for the opportunity. When can I use this shit? Like this. Gotcha.
The fact that we even made a whole podcast off of something that I say all the time. Right. Nah, I'm good.
Right.
We give a whole podcast. Because it's real. It's real.
It is, and man.
We gotta keep it real.
Oh,
people
man.
ain't keeping it real out there to each other.
That's the problem.
Yep. Not speaking their truth.
That's the problem. That's the
lying
problem.
To themselves.
Speaking of not speaking your truth, I had some time on my hands today.
Okay.
Well, first and foremost, I went and did an interview today, right? And as I'm sitting there,
You're being interviewed?
I was being interviewed.
Oh, okay.
And we're sitting there talking, and they have these list of questions that they gave me whatever to look at. And the first one was basically describe myself and my education background leading into how I'm in the position I'm in. And then all these questions kind of followed. So I just quickly glanced at all the questions, and they were behind the camera. So it's just me sitting like this, talking to them. And I just, off the cuff, just start doing what we do, just talking. Didn't even give them a chance to ask questions because I'm like, you showed me the questions. They're like, yeah, just go ahead and get started because they're going to take it and chop it up anyway.
Right.
So I'm just shooting off all this shit, right? And then they're like, all right, cut for a minute because they got to let the cameras kind of do their thing because they had 3 different cameras, but they get hot if you don't cut every so often. And one of the people there, she's like, you've done this before, huh? I've done this before. I do this every week. Right? I was like, I ain't shy of having a camera in my face. Right. I'm like, we talk to the world every week.
Yeah, the more you do it, the more you're comfortable.
It's just, you're asking me questions about me. If I make a mistake, the only person going to know is me. If I lie, the only person going to know is me. So
that's real.
I'm just going to talk. Yeah. And if y'all find some good sound bites in there that you want to put out in the world, have at it. But on the drive to the place, I was listening to the podcast, and I'm tired, man. I'm telling you. I'm tired of hearing women say men don't ever take accountability for their actions. So here's the scenario. These 2 people do a podcast, and it's a man and a woman who are talking, and they're good friends, right? She did something in the moment that was completely wrong on her part.
Okay.
And he reacted. And when he reacted, she was like, why are you reacting like that? Because he did something that none of us would really do. I don't want to talk about their podcast. But say, for example, me and you are boys, and you're sitting here, and you have your coffee over there, right? Right. And you hadn't even taken a sip of your coffee, and I just walk over, and I'm just like this. Hey, man, can I get a taste of your coffee? And before you say anything, I just do this. Like, I don't give you a chance to. I don't give you a chance to answer.
I got you.
Now, I'm your boy. You might say, sure, I'll give you some. Go get a cup or whatever it may be, right?
Right.
So when he was like, "Oh, hold up," that's when the whole conversation got heated. And so she couldn't see his side of the story. And he was just like, "Look, you didn't. My whole argument is you didn't give me a chance to answer yes or no. Even though you assumed it's going to be yes, the common courtesy thing to do is to wait for me to tell you yes." So instead of taking accountability, she argued around it, trying to argue around the way that he's wrong. And then she's like, well, what about when? Now, mind you, they don't even date. They're not dating. They're just good friends. What about when you did something similar, blah, 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 right? And he's like, what's that got to do with right now? And he's like, and also, when I did something similar and I realized I was wrong, what did I immediately do? I said, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then they go off and there's other women on the podcast and they're saying about how men just don't take accountability for that. He's like, I just told you, and you even admitted at that time that I did it, that I apologized. I realized I was in the wrong and I apologized. And so I bring this up because when women say all the time that men don't take accountability, I think it's projecting.
Do I have to answer that?
Nah, this is a rhetorical question. Yeah. And so I was just like, it's like, come on, man. We said it in a podcast before where you want to make a man pass out, give him a compliment, say my bad, and then say I'm sorry. His heart will probably stop. Why? Because those are three things that never happen. But yet we don't take accountability for our actions.
Like that guy that shows his wife all these really tough words, and in between it says, like, just off the cuff, like things that you should not be able to spell.
Right.
And she just says it like no big deal. Then he says,
she couldn't say I apologize.
Sound it out.
And so it's funny because there wouldn't be so many memes and jokes and conversations about a woman's inability to say I'm sorry or I apologize if some of it wasn't true. You don't see the memes and the jokes and all of that about men not taking accountability and not saying I'm sorry. Oh. Men apologize for shit and they don't even know what they did.
Think about all these cartoon gifs and memes that are out there. They are all doing the exact same thing.
Honey, can I talk to you for a minute? I'm sorry. He just assumes he did something that offended you, pissed you off. I'm apologizing. I'm taking accountability for it all.
It's easier to do that so you can just move on.
Yeah, but to say that we never take accountability, in my mind, it's saying I'm projecting my inability to take accountability on you.
Right.
But and you hear it time and time again, and you only hear it when a dude brings up something you did as a woman. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm just letting you know that this thing you just did, I didn't like it so much.
But when you did.
But it was okay when you did it. No, I said I was sorry when I did it. But you somehow you're doing the exact same thing. And he's like, who's worse? You got really pissed off at me when I did it. And so now you do it to me. Does that make it right? Dude, it was some funny shit.
But
because she kept trying to argue her way around it.
It happens all the time. It happens to every man. We all do it. We're not accountable. We don't take responsibility for our actions. Blah 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 blah. Let me tell you something. We take more responsibility for your inactions and actions. That's why we say I'm sorry before you even say anything else, so we just move on.
And then it's like, well, you didn't mean that. Yes, I'm sorry for whatever I did to make you want to come have this conversation.
You know what? I don't feel like dealing with it right now. It has way too much carryover, and you're likely to just suppress it if I say I'm sorry.
Or I could hear you out and tell you I'm sorry still. Yeah. I'm not going to argue with you about it. So I'll hear you out. I don't like it when you did this, this, and this. Okay, I'm sorry. No, you're not.
Let alone if you do it this way. I'm sorry you feel that way. What do you mean?
You can't
do it that way.
Can't do it that way. You got to say I'm sorry.
You got to say I'm sorry.
Because I'm sorry you feel that way means you don't think you did anything wrong.
Right.
And God forbid that you didn't do anything wrong or feel you didn't do anything wrong. Doesn't matter. If they think you did something wrong, you're wrong. And I didn't want to start this off by bashing women. I get tired of hearing how women out there keep saying men don't want to take accountability, and it's only when you don't hear it unless a man comes at you with the one thing that he dislikes in the moment.
Which means
he sucks it up most of the time.
Yeah. And you start searching for things that he's done that have nothing to do with this moment.
You go looking in your bank account for checks you want to cash now.
Yeah.
I already apologized for that. But still, you were still wrong. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
And I apologized. You want to rehash it again? Why? Just because this is tit for tat?
But the funny thing, even funnier thing, is those are the main ones that say, I want you to tell me the truth. Tell it like it is. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, I'm not going to hear that one.
I had somebody tell me, I want to hear the truth, but I want to hear the truth the way I want to hear it.
Then that's not the truth.
Or the truth. I don't mind being told the truth as long as it's not the truth that makes me feel bad. And I was like,
that doesn't make any sense.
Dude, exact words.
Make no goddamn sense.
If the truth is going to hurt, I don't want to hear it. Then you don't want to hear the truth.
Then you want to hear the truth.
It's that simple.
Because I'm going to punch you in the mouth.
I can't sugarcoat the truth. The truth is the truth.
It is what it is.
Oh, it's about the delivery. You want me to slow it down so it hurts a little more, or you just want me to rip the Band-Aid off? Because I can slowly peel it, or I can just rip it off. You tell me how you want it.
Take that dagger and just
ease it in, or just
slowly push it.
Just you want to jab it in, or you just want to and twist a little bit as it goes in. Yeah, it's like that made no sense. Anyhow, man, it's just, people are funny to be bad, and these are the conversations that just pop up for no reason. But this would happen when I got time on my hands and I could listen to a podcast and I listen to what's out there.
And you hear exactly what
people think.
Saying. Yeah, but we keep saying, we keep bringing it up on our lives on Saturday all the time.
And
and it never changes.
I don't think it will.
No,
I don't think it ever will.
But I still think it's very important that we keep saying what we're saying.
We keep having these conversations, and hopefully,
y'all
are listening.
Yeah,
something's got to sink in. You know, to men and women alike. Some of these topics have to sink in. Mm-hmm. So, which leads us to our topic of the day. It came up because I was listening to another podcast. I had a long drive today.
Right.
There and back. I'm in the car all day today. Yeah. But there was a conversation that was being had about men and women and having kids. Okay. And one statement was made that it should just be, we're talking about false paternity, right?
Okay.
And dudes who are accused of being the dad and raise somebody else's kid because the wife didn't tell them and all this stuff, right? And so somebody made a statement that at the time of birth, before the birth certificate is signed, because once you sign the birth certificate, if you're found later to not be the father, it's a nightmare for you to get removed.
Okay.
You basically, on top of the nightmare legal stuff, you have to have the actual father be willing to sign the...
Wow.
Yeah, it's a hot mess. But it came up, and just listening to a bunch of different stuff today, it came up because you hear somebody made a statement about, well, why not just do genetic testing at the time of birth? The hospitals will pay for it. It's a simple test. Boom, boom, boom. Swab everybody right there. Mom, dad, baby. Swab baby, swab dad. And at the time of birth, if you ain't the pops, then you make that decision. And so the question came up, was like, oh, well, why are you trying to have a baby with somebody you don't trust? And it's funny because if you look at the data that's out there, there are so many. I mean, it was some staggering number of people who submit for DNA testing to find out paternity. Like over half of them are not.
Really?
Something crazy. Or 30 to 40% were not.
That's a lot.
I mean, it was a big number. It wasn't negligible like 3 or 4%. It was multiple double digits, right? And knowing that, and people like Maury having a big show out there, and
right,
all this stuff, do you blame a dude? And if you're a man, are you in the wrong? Are you showing that you don't trust your wife if you say, hey, can I DNA test my kid at birth? Because it's not that I don't trust you. I can never be 100%.
Okay.
And I want to know if this kid not only is genetically mine, but there may be some other things that may pop up down the road, and we've already done the testing that says, yes, I'm compatible for a kidney, blah, 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 whatever. All that stuff down the road. And I heard the comments, and it was just sort of interesting how the dudes were like, yeah, I don't see a problem with that.
Okay.
And the ladies were like, I feel some kind of way about that. And so here was the ignorant statement that was made. And this woman was trying to make an argument about it. She was like, okay, if you're going to make an intrusive demand like doing a test on our kid and me, then what is it that I can do to you as a man that makes you as vulnerable or whatever? And they're trying to figure something out. And he was like, nothing. Well, I mean, what? She's like, how about this? How about we do it so, because your finances, it always goes to money. Because your finances are so important to you, I want to know a deep dive into all of your finances, not just your tax return. Everything you own, I want to see it all. I want to know your income. I want to see it all. And nobody said anything, right? And at this point, I had gotten to where my destination and all this stuff. And I'm like, how are you trying to make an equivalency between the two?
Right.
I'm like, he wants to know if he's the dad. You want to know how much money he really has. Why? Because you think he could be lying to you. And then she brought up the Murdochs and how they really found out he was in a lot of debt and all this stuff. Yeah, but him not being able to pay your bills because he lied about being able to pay your bills doesn't ruin your life.
Right.
How are you comparing? I lied about you being some kid's dad, and he lied about how much money he makes. You can't compare the two. So trying to make that equivalency was just dumb, because it was one of those things where, again, it had to be a tit for tat. Oh, if you do this, and I got to find something that's right, intrusive to you too. No, I'm just going to say, let's make sure we know you're the mom. That's the known. No matter how much I trust you, this is still the unknown. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I could be 99.9% sure, but only you can be 100% sure. And I'm supposed to just trust that you're 100% sure when there are so many people that find out decades later that their kids aren't theirs.
Like that old man.
Yeah. And so trust is something that has limits.
Yes. Has limits. Trust is a motherfucker too.
So here, let me ask you a question. Do you trust until given a reason not to, or do people have to earn your trust?
I think for me, typically, I'm a guy that trusts until proven otherwise. And I know that it is a earned thing, but the people in my life, I typically trust them because they're in my life. But somebody new coming in, I'm already at guard anyway.
Yeah.
I'm always a little protective until otherwise. It's like we develop a relationship.
I always say, I trust you to be who you are. And if I don't know who you are, then I have nothing to trust.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
And so for me, I don't trust nobody. And the reason why is because the people that are in my circle, okay, like I trust you. And like we've always said, I trust people with certain things. I trust you to be you. Like,
right.
Oh boy, we talked about, I can trust you with my life, but I can't trust you with women and money.
Right.
Right. And as long as I know where I can trust you, your trust is earned, not trust or not. It's what can I trust you with?
Correct.
I'll trust you with my car, but I ain't gonna trust you with my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'll trust you with my sister, but I'm not gonna trust you with my wife.
Right.
Those kind of things.
Yeah.
And so it
makes sense.
I think there's different levels to the game.
There's definitely different levels. And I mean, that even goes for people with trust with themselves.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't trust themselves.
Trusting yourself is hard.
Yeah. It's hidden, and sometimes it's hidden behind other values.
Yeah. I think, too, I can't stand when I ask somebody to clarify something and they're like, what, you don't trust me? Obviously, if I'm asking, then I don't.
And is it really about trust, or is you just asking for clarification?
Or like if I do this all the time. Somebody asks me for if I ask a question or if I need an answer for something, give me the answer. Or I say, is this such and such? And then I look anyway. Like surgery, let's keep it simple. I say, hey, I need this instrument. And they hand it to me and I look at it and check it. And my scrub tech will always be, oh, you don't trust me? And I always reply, trust but verify.
Right.
I trust you, but I'm still going to look.
Yeah.
Double check. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people get offended when you trust but verify.
I mean, you're speaking in life and death situations.
Right. But let's look at it in relationships. People who don't trust their significant other. So say you send your wife goes out with the girls. Like your wife is taking girls trips.
Yeah.
Or your wife's going out. Is it a sign of not trusting to say, hey, call me when you get back to the room? Or call me when you get home, whatever it may be. That's not a sign of I don't trust you. That's a sign from a guy's standpoint.
Sign of safety.
I'm your protector.
Yeah.
And what I think a lot of people don't realize, and there are those guys, and there's a difference between trust and being protective, and jealousy
and overbearing
and overprotecting.
Mm-hmm.
Protecting and being territorial. And so a guy who's being protective, it's not that he doesn't trust you. He doesn't trust the dudes in this world.
Mm-hmm.
We're dudes. We know.
Yeah.
Dudes do some off-the-wall shit. But what's interesting, a lot of times women will not trust their guy instead of not trusting the women in the world. You have to know that when he goes out with the boys, if you either you trust him or you don't.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't every 2 minutes, where are you? What are you doing? You know, that's not trusting. If I call my wife or you call, I don't have a wife, but if you call your wife and you're like, every 2 minutes, what are you doing now? What are you doing now? That's kind of overbearing.
It is overbearing.
You know, but what's interesting, I heard somebody say, I'm a jealous woman, and so there are certain things that aren't going to fly with me. Well, what does that mean? And it was, we've had this conversation. You walk into a room, and there's a woman there that you've dated, or there's a man there that she's dated. We talked about this. Do you want to know? Or if somebody slept with a celebrity, or somebody used to date somebody that's of high stature, or whatever it may be, do you want to know? Mm-hmm. And I heard a woman say, if there's going to be no interaction in that room, then I don't want to know. Because immediately I'm going to start looking at her in a different light. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be looking at her in some kind of way. And I'm like, why does that matter?
Made me think about we were at this party. This is long ago, mm-hmm. and with friends we know.
Yeah,
and there was a girl that was sitting here, and there was another one sitting across from me, and we were talking. We're both chatting it up, you know, whatever. Kenya was like, "They look a little too comfy over there." I was like, in my mind, I'm looking at both of them. I'm like, they looking a little too comfy over here. So she kind of came over, and I snatched her, put her on my lap, and she was like, hey, blah, blah, blah. We popping off, we're all talking, but she knows how to hold the room, hold the dynamic. And later on, we're going home or whatever, and she said, you know, that person, the one that was sitting across from me, was like, I don't trust her. I said, your radar's off. I said, because the one that was sitting here, that's the one. Right. That one, they're like raptors. That one is staring you down while this one's coming in for the kill. And that's what was going on.
Yeah.
And she said, really? I said, yes. I felt the energy.
Distract her so I can eat this meat over
exactly.
here.
She was saying just enough so she can kind of, when the hair starts swaying and start doing this and that,
make him take notice.
I was like, mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's funny how I always tell people, and ladies, I'm gonna give you a piece of advice. If you have a dude that is always up your shit, where are you? Where are you going? Why are you going here with the girls? Why are you doing that? Who are you with? And all that stuff. He's doing dirt. He's trying to deflect his shit on you. It's not the dude who's like, go out, have a good time. That's nonchalant. Mm-mm. It's the dude who's overbearing, who's really...
That's real talk.
He's the guy that's doing dirt. The guy who's secure in his shit.
Because he's doing that so he can push you off. And then because you're like, oh, God. And then when the moment that you don't call, you slide on. Yeah.
You know, but if he's like, oh, have a good time. I'm going to be here playing my video games or whatever it is he's doing. That's exactly what he's doing.
Right.
But when he's constantly checking your whereabouts, so he knows how much time he's got.
Wow. Didn't even think about that. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. But it's true.
What time are you coming home from work? Are you stopping anywhere after that? What are you doing then? You know, all these...
Everything.
That's the guy who has to know where you are every minute of the day. That's the guy who's doing dirt. Not 100% of the time. Either way, he's the guy who's doing dirt or extremely jealous. Neither one of those dudes you want.
Yeah. Now, if you're married, like for me, we have not, I like to say they're not check-ins. It's like what's ups. You know what I mean? Like I go early in the morning. I check in. I'm like, hey, I'm on my drive back to the west side. How's your day going? How's your morning? Did you sleep well?
Different.
Completely different.
Completely different.
You know, how's your schedule today? Do you want to work out later?
Completely different.
Completely different.
It's my brother talks to his wife 100 times a damn day. They're on the phone all day.
Yeah.
Fucking different.
And it's just the most randomness of conversations. Not checking in, just saying
just
what's
different.
Yeah.
Just talking about life shit.
Like talking to my person.
Yeah.
I like talking to my person.
Yeah, just life shit.
Yeah.
But when it's where you doing, what you doing all the time, if that dude is checking you like that, ladies, understand, have your little spidey sense up that he's probably doing dirt.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, there's another little thing too. I call it micro trust. You know, perfect example. So in the evenings, I typically wash the dishes. But if there's times that I haven't, whatever, because I want to set her day up easy in the morning. She's done the cooking, I wash the dishes. So if I'm continuously not washing the dishes in the evening, I'm not helping her setting her day up. She doesn't have trust that I'm taking care of the house in the same facet or in that same energy, because she wants to know I'm a part of the house. So guess what? I can stay on point of building trust within myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to take care of the house and show myself that I'm trying to take care of the house, to show her that I'm trying to take care of the house. Thing is, what happens with a lot of ladies, the moment you miss one, it reverts back to all the time.
Oh, for sure.
So we had to have conversations like, you understand, it ain't all the time. It was just last night. This is who I am. That's who I used to be. I'm not living in that space. And that's the thing, staying current.
Yes.
And working on staying current, building trust to stay current, not living in that past. That happens a lot.
Hell of a lot. If I bring something up in your present, the first thing you want to do is dig in the past.
Right.
Why? Because it's that same tit for tat bullshit.
Yeah. Go back to what we were talking about in the beginning.
Yeah, it's that same
Well,
shit. And you know, trust is one of those things that you start with a certain level of trust.
Of course.
And then it builds. Like, take work, for example. I have 4 assistants, and they've all been with me different amount of years. The one that's been there the longest, dude, has all my passwords, has everything. Why? Because she's earned that trust from me based on her actions. Mm-hmm. You know, based on the level of responsibility that she has and has gotten over the years. You know, have somebody new, I have to be like, okay, you basically have my phone number. You know? And then
Right.
I want to know everything. I want to see the emails. I'm going to ask you a million times, did you do this? Now, with my staff, I say I need this done. I don't have to check because I trust and know, based on past experience with them, that it's done. You know, and I think that's a level of trust that is just earned over time.
Yeah. Yeah. Trust is built.
100%. And so,
Go ahead.
do you start out trusting?
Right.
You trust with little things and see if that gets handled.
Yeah.
You don't trust with the things that are important.
Right. Like when you start dating.
Yeah.
It reminds me when I used to come to her house. She gave me the key. Eventually, she gave me the key to the front gate. So it's like I can get in the gate, but I still got to knock on the door.
I'm going to give you the door code, the gate code, but you still got to ring the doorbell.
You still got to ring the doorbell. You know, one step at a time. One step at a time.
It's true. That's how it works. I've never given a woman keys to my place. Not that I don't trust, but why do you need it? And I don't know you well enough for you to have it.
Right.
You know?
You have to evolve to a different place for that.
Yeah. That's a big step.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's trust within yourself too. Like, I'm going to trust this person.
Do you think lack of trust makes people territorial?
Oh.
So, and who do you think's more
Who
who do you think's more territorial, women or men?
Come on now. Women are more territorial, very territorial.
And I wonder, why do you think that is? Is it because they know how they are?
They know how they are, and they live in the past. I think the things that have happened to them in the past with previous relationships, or they seen their father or seen another man, the actions that have happened being around women, the trust.
Yeah, like for example, I heard someone say on a podcast, I need everybody to know, everybody in his circle needs to know that I'm his woman. Like that label, they need to know, right? And so there was a scenario where question was asked, if his boy, if I come to you and say, your boy keeps hitting on me, as me being your woman, your boy, if Kenyatta came to you and say, dude, Lay keeps coming at me, right? She was like, I'm going to be pissed off at my man because in my mind, is he downplaying our relationship so his boy thinks it's okay? And the dude just started laughing. And I started thinking about that, and I was like, okay, she clearly doesn't understand man law.
That doesn't exist.
So to answer that scenario, you're getting mad at the wrong dude. You're getting mad at your man because his boy hit on you. You ever think that maybe he just didn't know?
Right.
And maybe you should tell him, hey, your boy is hitting on me, and let him handle it, because that will put him in a space of, oh, this dude ain't really my boy.
Right.
Let him handle it.
Right.
You shouldn't be getting mad at him.
Yeah.
Because what's going to end up happening is
he's
going to lose you and his best friend.
There's something about him. There's a vibe I get. He makes me feel very uncomfortable. Just lay it out. Because if he's digging you, he's digging you. And the thing is, a man is not going to tell his boys anything about you because you are now his girl. He gonna be like, you ask him, random girls he's dating, oh man, we kicking it, we smash, blah, 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 blah. But once he finds one, and that's the chick, that's the main one, that's it, there ain't nobody else, he'll be like, hey man, what's up with your girl? Oh, she cool. We good.
But here's the funny thing.
That's it.
Who's more territorial, men or women, went back to trust issues. And if a woman's territorial, it's fine because that's just how we are. I need everybody to know I'm your girl. Mm-hmm. If a man's territorial, it's because he's insecure. That was the statements. And it's like, why is it a positive for the women and a negative for the dude? All the time, man. It's kind of wild. And yes, if he's not territorial, if he doesn't care if you tell everybody, like a dude, if he's in the background, spotlight's on you. You handle your business. A man's not gonna be like, oh, you better tell everybody I'm your man. He knows when he gets home who the king is. You know what I mean? But for some reason, if the roles are reversed and you have the spotlight, a lot of women can't handle that.
Bro, we're at the bottom of the quadratic equation. We either negative positive or negative negative. Women are positive positive or positive negative.
Yeah. But it's funny because it's so true how I have to trust you, but you don't have to trust me.
Make that make sense.
Because all men are liars, all men are dogs. Although women cheat as much as men or more. Statistics show.
statistics do show. The facts never lie.
Since y'all like numbers and polls and all that shit.
Look it up. Google that.
Yeah. And so we're always presumed guilty until proven innocent. Mm-hmm. I don't trust you, and if you say you don't trust me, it's not jealousy. If I say I don't trust you, then it's jealousy. But if I completely trust you, then you say I don't care. Right? Think about that. If you're like, I'm going out with the girls, and I say, have a good time. Is that what you're wearing? Cool, it looks great on you. Oh, he doesn't care. He must be up to something. He must got a girl coming over. He must got this or that. But if I'm like, oh, where the fuck are you going with that? Oh, no, you can't dress like that. You can't tell me what to do. And so it's funny, but that's how it is. If you're not at least a little bit jealous or show a little bit of jealousy, you can't be completely 100% confident in your relationship and be trusting and be like, that's my boo. I got her. Go do your thing, girl. That means you don't care.
The crazy part is the moment they don't trust, they're looking for as many ways to not trust. And it can be, you can be in a relationship on the outskirts. We're not going any further.
Yeah.
But I still got to prove how untrustworthy you are. Give you an example. My ex-wife moved out of the house, didn't want to sell the house, staying with her girlfriend, staying with her dude, whatever, but would randomly come back to the house during the course of the day, during the week, looking to see if there was another woman at the house.
Right, trying to catch you doing some shit.
See, so I can say, see. Why would I do that? Bro, I'm trying to get up out of here.
It's coming to a conclusion.
Correct.
And then looking for the facts.
Yeah.
Or creating the facts to support the conclusion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find it so wild that if I completely trust you, then there's something wrong. If I don't trust you,
something wrong with
then
you.
something wrong.
Yeah, something wrong with you.
Get
it together.
And so either way, and a lot of times women won't look at it that way. Yeah. Yes, dudes can be crazy and overbearing and really jealous. There's nothing cool about a jealous man or a woman. Yes, I care, but I don't have to be jealous because I'm secure in me and I'm secure in our relationship. The minute I'm not secure in our relationship, there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
You can't make me more secure if I already doubt you. So if I don't doubt you, look at that as a win. Right. If you say you're going to the store, I trust you're going to the store. I don't need to call you and say, are you at the store? No, you went. You say, hey, my brother in his household, he pays all the bills. That's just the way they work things out, right? His wife doesn't have to come to him every month and say, hey, did you pay the mortgage? Hey, did you pay the mortgage? You just trust that the repo man ain't coming. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so if you say you're going to do something, I trust you to do that thing until the first time you don't do that thing. Mm-hmm. And then I no longer trust you in that respect. If you say, every Tuesday I got this, I'm taking care of this, and the one Tuesday you don't, every Tuesday from now on I'm going to ask you, did you do this? Mm-hmm. Did you take care of this? Well, I do every week. Well, that week you didn't, so now I need to build that trust back again.
That trust, yeah. That's that micro trust.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I understand that. And you know what? You want to beat that to the punch, just tell them. Say, listen, I understand this is where you are based off of where I was, what I did. But this is what I've been working on so we can keep going forward. So that way you can trust me again.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you to trust me. I'm just going to continue to do these things to help support your trust within me. And hopefully you'll let that go.
Or tell me what you need from me to help you, to help earn your trust again in that respect.
In that respect.
Kind of like, kind of like your credit cards. If you keep missing payments or having late payments, they're not going to up your limit until they have trust that you're going to start making payments on time.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And once you build that credit trust again, then they'll allow you to, that's all your credit card is. That's all your credit score is. You're trustworthy to pay a bill.
That's all it is. It's a trust number.
Yes. But people don't look
You've
at
been
it that
doing
way.
this consistently. So we trust in giving him this number now. This is what'll hold him. That's it.
And I would say one of the greatest examples of blind trust is when people go to sleep and let me cut them. They have no idea what I can do. They hear stories. They hear, okay, he's got a reputation, but they don't know how it's going to affect them. They're just going to go to sleep, and they trust that they're going to wake up better on the other side.
Yeah.
Another thing, when people say, I trust in God, that's complete blind trust of something that you've never seen, felt, heard, seen. You trust in a belief.
Yeah. Well, they say hope keeps you, faith sustains you. And that faith is trust.
Yeah, and if anybody tries to explain exactly what trust is, I don't know that you could answer that.
No. Because it's all relative.
I wonder what
you got.
The what you call it, the definition of trust. Interesting. Firm belief in reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. When I say I trust you, I believe in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of.
So it's,
I should never have trusted her. It's funny that is.
so they still end up using it in a negative.
Yep.
But it's so it's subjective.
Yeah. And it's just assured reliance on the character, ability, or strength. Yeah. So it's, if I'm working out with you and you're my spotter, I trust that you're going to get this off my chest if I can't lift it.
Not.
You let that shit crush my impact. But you know, there's certain levels of trust to that game, you know.
Yeah. I mean, people have to trust that I'm going to help them with their mental shit. You know what I mean? Whatever we're talking through and working through, they have to trust that I'm just going to be able to maybe open up this platform and help them get through it.
Now that it's an election year, we trust that our system of government is going to run appropriately. We trust that our votes are going to matter. We have, you know, we're putting our lives in the hands of the people we vote into office, trusting that they're going to do the right thing. It doesn't always happen. And that's why politicians are usually looked at as the most untrustworthy, because they always do what's self-serving.
Yeah.
You know, can you trust somebody who's self-serving?
I mean,
It's a tough one. Trust them with what? You can trust somebody who's self-serving if
it allows them.
it aligns with what you need.
Yeah.
If their needs align with your needs. But if your needs are different than their needs, you can trust that the self-serving person is going to do what's best for them. You know, is that always the best thing? Probably not. But I think one of the most important things in relationships of any kind is trust. Friendships, you know, love relationships, work relationships. There's got to be a level. I mean, look at the military. You get an order, you have to trust the dude next to you or you die. You know, there's so many areas in life where you're dependent on someone else and you have to trust that they'll get the job done. And so people don't stop and pause and realize how intertwined and necessary our lives are, you know. And so when I hear people say, I don't need a man, I don't need men, I heard this today. Somebody said, it was on an IG post, men aren't needed, they're like dessert.
Wow. Okay.
We don't need them to survive, but who doesn't like dessert?
Oh.
And my response in something like that is, you're absolutely right. You will not die if men aren't around. But your life is made 1,000 times easier because we exist. We as men won't die if women aren't around to be in our lives. But you'll never hear a man say, I don't need her.
Ever.
You will never hear a man say, we don't need women.
We'll complain about them.
We'll talk shit. But at the end of the day, we know our lives are better because you're in it. And whether you guys want to admit it or not, your lives are better because we're in it. Mm-hmm. And there's got to be a level of trust amongst us to at least play those roles that are needed in order for this thing called society to survive, man.
This freaking thing called life, bro.
It's wild, man. It is absolutely wild how there is misplaced trust, there's distrust, and then there's, which creates that jealousy, that envy, that territorialism, that hatred. You know, instead of just, you know, saying, I trust you to a certain extent, and that trust will grow the more I get to know you, I feel you, and understand you.
Yeah, you have a baseline. You have a baseline of trust, and then we'll work from there.
Yeah. So, do I trust you until proven otherwise? Nah. I don't trust you fully until the trust is earned.
Right.
I think we're saying the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Trust is.
I don't trust none of y'all fools. I'm just giving you shit.
I trust that you listen.
I trust you to be you. I trust you to always do you.
Right.
And if that's all you do, I want you to trust me to be me. I'm always going to be me. If you can't see it or understand it and you choose not to ask, that's not my fault when you get surprised.
Right.
Because I told you I'm going to always be me.
And as you get to know me, you'll get to know more to trust.
And you'll be able to ask less questions.
Right.
Because you'll already know the answers. You trust that the answer is going to be this.
Correct.
Coach, man, I like this one. We can't believe we haven't talked about trust issues in all these episodes. And not even trust issues. We didn't really talk about issues. It's just
the
levels
word.
levels to the game.
Yeah.
Coach, where they going to find you, man?
They're going to find me at Coach KJ Knows on Instagram and CoachKJ.com.
You're going to find me.
Where you at?
You can find me at Leonel Hunt. You can find me at Leonel Hunt on IG, at huntspine.com. Don't forget to check out the foundation, thehuntfoundation.org. You'll find us both on SOE_podcast and podcastsoe.com. Everything Coach and Doc. Every Wednesday, a new episode comes out at 6. Every Saturday, we got that live going. Chime in, shoot us some stuff to talk about. Thank you for those of you who've been shooting me DMs on my personal thing to stuff to talk about. You got to shoot them on the podcast so we can both see them. I'm tired of having to forward shit, just so you know. On that note, y'all, we out.